Hi YouTubers, another quick update. Still haven't got those cables in. Just equalising the battery bank today. So where are we up to? 30.7 volts on the 24 volt bank. Been doing that for about 3 hours now, probably about another hour left. Just 4 hours to equalise them all. So what to look out for when equalising your batteries? Well, number one, they should be giving off lots of nice hydrogen, which definitely means for you smokers out there not to have any naked flames or anything that could spark, especially when you're dealing with industrial batteries that give off a lot of gas like these. You'll obviously then want your specific gravity hydrometer, and you'll be having a look at the specific gravity. Let's have a look at how we're doing. Right, I guess you can see that, so yeah, that's about right. We're just coming out into the green there, which is a good charge. Now, whatever charger you've got, you might have an inverter that hasn't got a charger on board, in which case you'd have to charge it from a generator, and you'd have to have something like a voltmeter on there, or a meter to make sure that you don't overcharge them. Equalising batteries, if you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. Simple as that. Basically, you need to have a look on YouTube about equalising batteries. There's people that have done specific videos just on that in a bit more detail than I'm going to go into today. But suffice to say, you need to obviously balance the cells out that are in your battery bank. These are all 2 volt cells, so ideally what I'd want to be doing on a, well, I guess every 3 to 6 months is possibly, maybe that'd be a little bit too much, maybe every 6 months, certainly once every year, is to disconnect all of these and to then basically just check with the voltmeter what each cell is doing. As I've said before, one of these cells goes down, you take it out, replace it. We've got like an AGM battery, which those kind of big ones down there, which are all sealed, then you're in trouble. If one cell goes down, it shorts out, and that's it, the whole battery is defunct, and you'll have to recycle it. Luckily enough, the weight of lead at the moment is still a fairly good price. So yeah, on average about 4 hours. This particular inverter, which is got a charger on it as well, has a little, don't know whether you can see, that seems a bit out of focus to me. Oh, there we go. So you see number 8 is desulfation cycle, which will put through 15.5 volts for 4 hours. And then after that you want to let it float. Oh, another important thing I haven't mentioned at all. All my solar array is off. All the charge controllers are off. There is no load on this system at all. You should not have a load on the system while you're equalising your batteries. Switch everything off. All I've got at the moment is the mains going into the inverter, the AC being converted into DC, the DC going into the battery bank. That's it. No other load on it at all. Not even a very slight load. It's literally basically the inverter's just putting juice into the battery. You can't get accurate readings if you've got other loadings on as well at the same time, so that's very important. What else is there? That's about it really. The system's okay, it's still running really well. I haven't really done much to it, as you can probably see by the lack of videos that I've done. The one thing that I am, and one of the reasons why I haven't, well, this has basically moved for any of you that have got a keen eye. But basically why I haven't conduited any of this cabling still, because I'm still experimenting with the fact that I haven't got 2 of these coming out of both the positives and 2 coming out both the negatives. this is 70mm diameter 400 amp welding cable. Carries a hell of a lot of juice, and obviously when the inverter's pulling a lot, ideally really I could double that up, which is what I intend to do down the line. But the more pressing matter is, and as I said before, I'm still learning as well, and it is a steep learning curve. It hasn't been an issue when it's running the house. It's an issue when I'm charging the electric car. And the issue is that from the charge controllers, I've used this marine or automobile alternator cable, which has about an 80 amp max current throughput on it. I've then actually used on the negative, I believe I've used the solar. No, I haven't. I've used the same kind of cable. One's black and one's red, but they're both, yeah, this alternator cable. And I haven't got a bit to show you actually from hand, but the premise is that it will take 80 amps. It gets damn warm, but they're very thick strands in the copper, and that's why it heats up. The keen physicists of you guys watching this, and the ones that are electricians, will know that the electrons flow in a spiral motion around the outside of the cable, not the inside it. And I've been reliably informed by my electrician that in industrial circles there is cable called triax, which is a very, very thin stranded cable, but lots of them, and very thick. Now what happened was, it was a really, really sunny day. I plugged the car in, everything was going fine, and then all of a sudden the 150 amp DC breaker popped, and I felt this cable here, which I was actually feeling anyway through the process, getting hotter and hotter, and I was thinking, I was just at the point I was actually going to switch off the experiment anyway, but it was cut short for me by this breaker going. The importance of a breaker, basically, because that potentially could have saved my charge controller. Well, it probably wouldn't actually, because that's internally fused anyway, but it would have been a pain because I've had to undo the charge controller and then replace the fuse within that. So that's the importance of having these breakers in. So basically what happened is the juice coming from the panels was being sucked down straight into the system and straight out into the car, and it was pulling down so many amps through these charge controllers that these cables just weren't dealing with it. The issue I've got is that the terminal points that come out of the charge controllers are quite small square points, and I've also been informed by the electrician that there are square crimped posts that you can put in. So with that and the triax cable, I think I'm going to have to, well, not think, I know that I'm going to have to upgrade both of the minus and positive cables coming from both charge controllers to the battery banks, and have a look at or revisit the maths on these DC breakers. So interestingly, you don't really know what these, obviously they come from China, they're mass manufactured. I've got a 150 amp one there, and I've got a 60 amp one there. Now these charge controllers are only supposed to put out a maximum of 60 amps, but I have seen them go slightly above that, up to 70 amps. They're good charge controllers, no doubt about it, but these DC breakers seem to be are all onto their own in terms of when they go. I think maybe it was a heat issue in the reason that it was tripped, or it was just literally creating such a resistance that it actually then popped. So yeah, we're going to have to revisit that. What I'll do is I'll do an update video once that's been done, once we've got the triax cable or equivalent in with the square postings, and I'll see if I can uncable this system, get one of the charge controllers off the wall, and show you what I'm doing there. Once we've done that, hopefully then we can do another experiment with charging the car, where it's literally pulling directly off the sun, off the panels, through the charge controllers, instead of, obviously, if you tried to do it at night time, you'd just be pulling it all out of the battery bank. So yeah, there we go. That's a kind of like a learning curve that I've been on recently. Once all that's done, then I'll have a look at sort of re-cabling again, but for now time has been a bit short. So while I've been rambling on for the last 10 minutes, we're still at 30.7 on here. I've tested most of these now with a specific gravity, and they're pretty up to scratch. You can always get a very small LED torch and have a look down at this stage as well at the plates, the tubular plates. Now I'm not going to hover over here too long because I'm breathing in hydrogen there, which doesn't go too well with the lungs. As always, I'm not touching them at the moment, I'm touching the camera, but you know, decent gloves. They don't have to be that thick. You can get these very thick gloves here from Wilkinson's or other places. I'd advise putting goggles on as well. You are dealing with sulfuric acid, and of course be safe. If you don't know what you're doing, get an electrician in to do it. This is very, very high voltage systems, and you've got to know what you're doing and be really, really aware of what you're connecting, what you're disconnecting, etc., and in what order when you're doing this kind of stuff. It's taken me, you know, 4-5 years of learning now to get to this stage where I'm powering pretty much most of my house off grid, and it's been an enjoyable learning curve, and I'm still learning, as we say. So I'll see if I can get pictures when Martin, my electrician, comes over. Maybe get him to do a video with me next time, and he can explain to you from an electrician's point of view, as he works on a lot of off-grid projects, both industrial and residential, and let him take you through a few things that from his angle as well. So anyway, quick update, and hope you're all doing well with your systems. Take care. See you next time.